The NHC appears a little bit more up for grabs. Of course, we say that every season, and Homestead for the last 6 years has won at least a share of the title each time. But Carroll's made a lot of progress. Other teams have graduated players. So how do you see this shaking out? And is it Carroll Homestead 1-2 or Homestead Carroll 1-2 perhaps?
Well, East Noble might have something to say about that too. They've got a lot of defensive starters returning, and they have the best name in high school football in Gray Fox.
True.
That's kind of cool. But no, it is going to be Carroll and Homestead, I think, battling it out with maybe East Noble making some noise. But it's a new year, and a new team will take over the NHC. It'll be the Carroll Chargers. They're going to knock off Homestead. Homestead graduated a lot of people. Lost Caleb Swanigan, a big body up front. Lost Isaac Griffith, wide receiver. Carroll, they have the Tranquil brothers. Drew and Justin, they can make plays on both sides of the ball. And, when we started this show 5 years ago, me and you together, we always talked Carroll should be better than they are. Guess what? Doug Dinan went there. He built a program. This is the year that they win a championship. They win the NHC championship. They've got some good depth. And Doug Dinan has a Chargers rolling. They'll be fine this year.
They got to replace quarterback Chandler Boggs. Looked pretty good in the scrimmage this past week. And you mentioned it, Justin Tranquil. We talked about DeMarcus Moon in the SAC, but he may be the best two-way player in the NHC.
Well, Drew Tranquil.
One of the best in the state. Drew, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Justin's really, really good.
Yeah,
Drew's really good. And so, yeah, in fact, it was interesting. He visited Notre Dame this weekend, and he took in their practice, but he's verbally committed to Purdue. We'll see how all that plays out. But, yeah, both Tranquil brothers, I mean, if it were just Justin, we'd be talking all about him because he can make plays on both sides of the ball, like I said. But Drew is a big kid. They list him at 205, 210. He looked bigger than that when I saw him Saturday at Notre Dame's practice. He has athleticism, speed. He can hit you. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can run it for power. He can run it on sweeps. He can just do it all.
Yeah, really nice young man. Sorry, I mixed him up. You're right. Drew is the senior, the guy that's verbally committed to Purdue, but Notre Dame is still in the
99% of the high schools in Indiana would kill to have Justin Tranquil, just him alone.
You mentioned East Noble, who's a team I think can make some strides. 7 wins under Luke Amstutz in his first season. Gray Fox is back. Brandon Mabel is back.
Yeah.
They've got some pieces. They always have some good big country linemen up there in Kendallville. But as far as other teams that look to compete, New Haven's graduated some players. Norwell's looking to carry some momentum over from last year's playoff run. Who are some teams maybe at the bottom half of the NHC that are going to make Friday nights difficult for the other teams?
Well, New Haven does have some good players, including Jordan Hogue back, and they have an experienced coach. They've tweaked their offense this year. They're doing some things to take advantage of their personnel this year. So they're going to, there's some people that think New Haven can get in there with the mix of the Homestead, Carroll, and East Nobles and make some noise in this. So don't discount New Haven. They're a solid program, and they're going to be really good. Columbia City has some offensive weapons at return. Now, they graduated a couple of key kids. Last year, they were just besieged by injuries.
Right.
If they can stay healthy, much like Dwenger, then Columbia City has the explosive offensive firepower that they can outscore some people this year. So Norwell, they do have Harnish at quarterback. That always helps to have a Harnish at quarterback.
Does not hurt.
It's Pearson this year instead of Chandler, but they were a team that played a lot of young kids, including Reggie Hayes Jr., a wide receiver, the last couple of years. Now those kids are getting to be juniors and seniors. They're getting more experience. They're getting physically stronger. So they're going to be a good program too. So, don't discount the Columbia Cities and Norwells. But if you want to know who's going to be at the top competing, Homestead, Carroll, New Haven, East Noble.